All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're stepping into the surprisingly high-stakes, hyper-analytical, and honestly, fiercely debated world of social drafting. Specifically, we're looking at the incredibly meticulous process of filling the final roster spot for a buddy golf trip. Now, to an outsider, that might sound pretty simple, right? But the data and source material we're analyzing today reveal a complex ecosystem where every single draft pick can literally make or break the entire dynamic of the group. So, the big question we gotta tackle right out of the gate is this. What actually makes the perfect 20th man? We're dropping right into the mystery here. When you've got a massive group trip, that final slot isn't just a warm body to fill a tee time. Oh no, it is a vital piece of a highly specific social puzzle. And today, we're gonna look at one particular case study that perfectly illustrates the extreme metrics and the intense scrutiny involved in this whole selection process. Now, a roster spot like this rarely just opens up in a vacuum, you know? This void appeared, as the source material notes, quote, after some unpleasantries happened which Casper handled like an adult and super reasonably. This brilliantly sets the stage for the environment we're entering. Drama occurred. A previous roster member literally had to be removed due to these vague unpleasantries, and a guy named Casper stepped up as the mature diplomat to handle the whole situation. So what does this mean? It means the pressure on the new guy is astronomical. He isn't just joining a fun trip, he's stepping in to replace a literal liability. Before we meet our new draft pick, let's just make absolutely sure we're on the same page. The 20th man is the final, highly debated roster spot required to complete the delicate ecosystem of a buddy golf trip. Keep that definition locked in your mind, because the group, after intense deliberation, has officially selected a man named Bill to be this 20th man. And as you'll see in a second, Bill is a wildly unconventional choice. All right, which brings us to the actual scouting report on Bill. Specifically, we need to talk about his physical deficits. Because look, when you crunch the raw data, Bill starts with some severe, glaring disadvantages against the established veteran legends of this specific friend group. First up, we've got the handsome metrics. If we put Bill directly head-to-head with a guy named Victor, is Bill as handsome as Victor? Factually, no, absolutely not. Bill is definitively not the standard bearer for looks in this league. Victor holds that title, and Bill, quite frankly, does not pose a threat to that metric whatsoever. Okay, so he's not exactly bringing the looks. Let's pivot to raw athletic performance. When we compare Bill's actual golfing skills head-to-head with a player named Rotzi, again, the analytics are really not in Bill's favor. Is he as good at golf as Rotzi? The source material gives us another definitive no. In terms of pure swing mechanics and scoring ability, Bill simply falls completely short of the top tier. And we're going to finish up this physical deficit analysis with a look at pure, unadulterated endurance, the bag-carrying stamina. The benchmark here is a man known as Mike the Stallion Ford. Can Bill carry his bags for 18 holes like Mike the Stallion Ford? Again, no. He completely lacks the horsepower of the Stallion. It's not even close. Which naturally brings us to the intangibles. Seriously, why Bill? If the guy lacks the looks, the swing, and the stamina, why in the world are we drafting him? We've got to look deeper at the intangibles. And this, right here, is exactly where Bill provides his immense, undeniable value. Absolute beer consumption parity. When matched up against a group heavyweight named Chips, the data shows Bill will match him drink for drink. He brings absolute parity to the beverage consumption metrics, basically guaranteeing that the vital social fuel of the trip is maintained without missing a single beat.
But honestly, it goes way beyond just matching drinks. Bill brings some wildly specialized social skills to the table. First, he will expertly fill any awkward silence with facts about the moon. Think about that. He provides continuous, high-level atmospheric trivia to prevent any lulls in conversation. Second, he will silently watch Casper gamble for hours with a giant grin on his face. He's providing uncritical, positive reinforcement for high-risk financial behavior. The source asks a rhetorical but honestly incredibly powerful question. Who wouldn't want that on their trip?
But wait, because here is the major plot twist, the Mac controversy. Despite all of those undeniable value adds, one single holdout in the group, a guy named Mac, expressed deep, vocal disdain for the pick. The entire consensus was literally nearly derailed just by Mac's opposition to Bill. Now, the folks in our source material are actually deeply divided on exactly why Mac is so upset. And we're totally impartial here, we're just looking at the two competing theories presented by the data. One host strongly believes it's purely professional jealousy, that Mac is secretly terrified of Bill's golf skills somehow shining brighter than his own. However, the other host theorizes that it could actually be underlying sexual tension, that Mac possesses feelings he simply doesn't know how to express, and it's manifesting as anger and disdain for Bill. So you've got these two equally weighted possibilities for the sole objection to our 20th man.
But listen, eventually this controversy just has to be put to bed. Why? Because Bill possesses an absolute trump card, a literal professional pedigree. Our source material actually laments how sad it is that Bill even needs to justify his invitation in the first place when you look at his background.
5+, that is the number of years Bill spent caddying at the insanely prestigious Madonna Country Club. I mean, we aren't talking about some casual weekend golfer here. We are talking about over half a decade in the absolute trenches of top-tier country club golf. If we trace Bill's incredible rise to greatness, it's like a movie. He starts out caddying at Medinah. By year 5, he is literally employed by the PGA and working the actual PGA Championship. But the culmination of this resume, the unbeatable, legendary, historical moment that cements his status as the 20th man forever, is right there at the very end. Bill once found a lost golf ball for professional golfing legend Tom Kite. I mean, come on. When you bring the guy who found Tom Kite's ball onto your roster, the debate is officially over.
So, after all the metrics, all the controversy, and the crazy resume, the entire drafting process is completely validated by one ultimate truth from the source. The important thing is that Bill isn't Bolin. Look, we don't even need to know what Bolin did. We just need to know that not being him is the absolute baseline for success on this roster.
Which brings us to the end of our analysis today, and frankly leaves us with a pretty critical thought to take away. As you look at the carefully constructed ecosystems of your own social groups and buddy trips, who is the Bolin in your life? Seriously, think about the rosters you manage, the value adds you bring to the table, and the 20th man you might eventually need to draft. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing those metrics, and I'll catch you on the next one.